Hi everyone, it's Blake again with North Winds Wilderness School. Sorry I've been gone for a while. Life just kind of got away from me, but we're back. Some of you probably know that along with North Winds Wilderness School, I also work in a hospital. I work in the emergency department at a level 1 trauma center. And often we get people who are not at their best. Quite often we get people at their worst, whether it's the saddest or the angriest or the most confused. And I had an experience last week that has really had me thinking, and I want to offer you all a challenge. I can't go into very much detail because of HIPAA, but we had a patient come to the department who was scared and confused and just basically not doing well. And there were several staff members around trying to help this patient understand that she was in a safe place and that we were there to help. And she got very upset and said a couple of things to a couple of people that were probably a little inappropriate. But then she looked at me and she said, "How am I supposed to believe that you're trustworthy when you're covered in tattoos?" And when she said that, it kind of stung. You know, I've lived a life in which I've had some judgments thrown at me. You know, I was a little punk kid when I was younger, and just throughout my life I've had different stages where I was not living what you'd call a mainstream life, and I think now counts as one of those. But that experience of someone saying to me that they didn't find me trustworthy because I have tattoos got me thinking about the snap judgments that we make. I do it all the time, especially when I'm driving. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things to say when I'm driving is, "Oh, I understand, this is your first time behind the wheel." And the judgments that we make against people not only can hurt them, but they limit our ability to experience the full breadth and depth that the human experience has to offer. When you judge someone because of the way they look, you are now removing that person from your potential list of friends, experiences, interactions, conversations. We all know that most of the judgments that we make, most of the things that we judge people for aren't true. But there's something in us that reacts. I think a small amount of snap judging can be helpful to us. If you snap judge that a situation is unsafe, you should remove yourself from that situation. Whether it be, it's flooding here, so you're driving down the road at 60 miles an hour and all of a sudden there's a bunch of water in the road, you should stop and not just plow into that water and hope it's okay. If you're in a city somewhere and there's a large group of intoxicated people speaking loudly, you should maybe cross to the other side of the road. But if you look at a human being and something about the way they look or the way they dress or the way they carry themselves makes you scared, you should examine that. You should look at why you're being scared of a person that you've had no interactions with, that you don't know anything about. So I'm going to offer a challenge to all of you. I think that if we all do this for a while, we can maybe get on the same page, and maybe we could even have a really cool conversation about our experiences. I'm not going to ask you to stop making snap judgments about people. I'm not even going to ask you to stop judging people. What I'm going to challenge you to do is every time you catch yourself making a snap judgment about a person based on their looks, I want you to recognize that it happened and ask yourself why. Why is it that I don't trust the guy with tattoos? Why is it that random person number 7 makes me uncomfortable? What is it about yourself and about these other people and about the world around us that is bringing these ideas to you, these ideas of fear? Whether it's race or gender or sexual preference or someone has green hair or tattoos, or they're wearing shorts in the winter. Whatever it is that you're judging about people, ask yourself, what is it about this person that's making me uncomfortable? And after a few days, at least for me, I've started to notice that even only after a week of doing this, I'm doing it less. Every time I notice that, I say, wait a minute, you're judging that person unfairly. Why? Why am I looking at that person and feeling fear? And in this short period of time, I've already noticed that when I look at someone, instead of saying that person is scary, that's obviously a bad person, that person's obviously a bad driver, what it is, I say, what is it about that person that's making me uncomfortable? And I figure if I can make that much progress in only a week, imagine what I can do in a month or 6 months or a year of stopping myself every time I judge someone and asking, what is it about this person that's making me uncomfortable? I would really like to hear from some of you what your experiences with this are. If you do find yourself judging people, do you recognize it? Do you have feelings about why certain people scare you? Keep it appropriate. I want to know if any of you try this, what your experience with it is. If you like it, if you think it's helpful, if you think it's stupid. So please spend a few days doing this. Every time you start to feel yourself judging someone, recognize it and ask yourself why. Then, after you've done it for a while, come back and let us know what your experience was about. If you found any value in this, please find a friend to share it with. I appreciate every second of your time. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos. I'll see you next time.